The royal court of Vareth was a place of shining marble and cruel hearts. Golden banners hung from the tall ceilings, and nobles in silk gowns moved like jeweled birds, whispering and laughing behind their fans. It was the night when young women from noble families came to the palace, each hoping to catch the eye of the king. Among them stood a girl who did not belong, Leora, daughter of a minor lord from the outer villages. She was short, plain compared to the tall and elegant ladies around her, and her dress was simple. Her mother had said, "Stand straight and smile." Even a star looks small from far away. But as Leora entered the grand hall, laughter followed her. "Is she lost?" someone whispered. "She looks like a child," another said. Their words cut deep, but Leora kept her chin up. She had not come for beauty or power. She had come because she saw something others could not, the shimmer of curses that hid beneath human flesh. The king appears. The hall went silent when King Kelric entered. He was known as the Alpha King, ruler of men and beasts. His presence filled the room like thunder. He wore black armor trimmed with silver, his long hair falling over eyes that glowed faintly, not with light but with power. Every woman bowed. Every man lowered his head. But when Leora's gaze met his, something strange happened. She did not see just a king. She saw a shadow wrapped around him, like black smoke curling from his chest, a curse deep and ancient. Her breath caught. The curse shimmered with symbols, a wolf, a moon, a broken crown. Kelric's sharp eyes noticed her staring. For a heartbeat, the hall seemed to vanish. He stepped closer, his voice deep and cold. "Do you see something strange, little one?" Leora bowed quickly. "Forgive me, your majesty." He tilted his head. "You are not afraid?" She raised her eyes again, trembling but honest. "I am not afraid of you, my king. Only of what binds you," the court gasped. No one ever spoke to the king like that. Kelric's jaw tightened. For a moment it seemed he would strike her down. Instead, he gave a quiet command. "Stay. I will find out what you mean." The truth-teller from that day, Leora was ordered to remain in the castle. She was not treated as a guest nor as a prisoner. Instead, the king gave her an unusual title, Royal Truth-Teller. Her job was to speak only what others feared to say. She could correct the king's counsel, question his choices, even challenge his words. But only before him, and only if she dared. Most at court hated her for it. "She is a trick," they whispered. "A toy to amuse the king." "She will not last long," said others. "No one crosses the Alpha King and lives." But Kelric did not send her away. Each day he called for her. He asked her about dreams, about omens, about the strange light that lingered over the palace. And she answered with calm truth. Leora began to see the man behind the crown. Not just the Alpha King feared by all, but a soul burdened by sorrow. He carried centuries of grief, for every queen he had taken before had died. The curse that gave him his power also destroyed everything he loved. He ruled a kingdom that trembled before him, but he lived in silence. And slowly he began to look forward to the sound of her voice, soft, honest, and unafraid. The shadows grow weeks passed. The moon grew full and then thin again, and the cold winds of the north swept through the stone halls. Leora learned much about Kelric's curse. Each night when the moon rose, strange marks appeared on his hands and chest, silver lines that burned through his skin. His temper would rise, his strength would grow, and sometimes he would vanish into the forests alone, returning only when dawn came. The court pretended not to notice, but Leora saw it all. She began to study old scrolls, searching for a way to understand the magic. She found whispers of a broken moon pact, a promise made by the first king of Vareth to the moon spirits for endless rule. In return, his bloodline would never know peace until the pact was broken by someone who could see through the curse. She feared what that meant. One night, Kelric found her in the library, surrounded by candles and scrolls. "You study things that can burn you," he said quietly. "I study because I want to help you," she replied. His eyes darkened. "Do not say such things. You do not know what I am." She looked up at him. "You are not the curse, my king. You are the one suffering from it." For a moment his cold mask broke. He turned away. "Do not try to save me, Leora. The curse always wins." But in her heart she whispered, "Not this time." The Feast of Fire. The next full moon brought a great feast. Nobles from every province came to offer gifts to the king. Leora stood quietly among the servants, her simple dress hidden beneath a dark cloak. As the music played and wine flowed, whispers about her grew louder. Jealous noblewomen mocked her, calling her the king's little pet. One of them, Lady Karenna, smiled sweetly and said, "Perhaps the king keeps her near so he can feel taller." Laughter filled the hall. Leora ignored them, but her heart ached. She turned to leave, when a guard stepped before her. "The king commands your presence," he said. Kelric sat upon his throne, his eyes sharp. "Leora," he said, his voice carrying through the hall, "they say you hide something from me, that you deal with forbidden magic." She froze. "Who says so, my king?" Lady Karenna stepped forward. "We found this in her room." She held up a small silver charm and one that pulsed with dark energy. Leora's eyes widened. She had never seen it before. The crowd murmured, "A witch! A curse reader!" Leora tried to speak. "That is not mine." But Kelric's face was unreadable. His tone grew colder. "If you speak truth, you will survive the trial of Moonfire. If not," he did not finish. The meaning was clear. The trial of Moonfire. That night, under the open sky, a circle was drawn on the palace grounds. The moon hung heavy and white. Leora stood in the center, surrounded by fire. The nobles watched from afar, their faces pale in the silver light. Kelric stood at the edge of the circle, his expression torn between duty and something deeper. "Do you have anything to say?" he asked. Leora lifted her chin. "Only that the curse upon you is the true evil here. It feeds on lies and fear. It will destroy you if you keep letting it rule." As the fire flared higher, the mark around Kelric's heart began to glow. The curse was reacting to her words. Smoke twisted through the air, forming the shape of a dark spirit. Gasps filled the court. The curse had never shown itself before. Kelric staggered back, his hands shaking as silver light poured from his skin. The dark spirit hissed and lunged toward him. Without thinking, Leora stepped forward. Her small frame was swallowed by the flames, but she raised her hands and spoke softly. A name she had seen written in the shimmer of the curse. Kelric of the Broken Moon. The moment she said it, the fire froze. The spirit screamed and vanished. The moon above turned red for a single heartbeat, and then all light went out. When it returned, Leora was lying still in the ashes, her eyes closed. Kelric rushed forward, catching her in his arms. The mighty Alpha King, who had faced wars and monsters without fear, now trembled like a man lost. He whispered, "Leora, open your eyes." But she did not move. The nobles watched in silence as their powerful king knelt on the ground, holding the small girl they had all mocked. A tear rolled down his cheek, glowing faintly in the moonlight. "You saw through the darkness," he whispered, "and now it has taken you." The curse inside him roared in pain, wild and alive. The ground shook. His silver eyes blazed with fury and grief as he lifted her and walked into the night, ignoring the fearful cries behind him. No one dared follow. The last thing the court saw was the Alpha King disappearing into the dark woods, carrying the lifeless girl who had spoken his true name, the only one who had ever dared to see his soul. The forest of Vareth was silent that night. Only the sound of wind moved through the black trees as King Kelric carried Leora's lifeless body in his arms. Her small form looked peaceful, as if only sleeping, but he knew better. Her heart no longer beat, and the curse that bound his soul screamed inside him like a wounded beast. He stopped near the ancient lake, a mirror of silver water under the moon. He fell to his knees and looked up at the sky. "Moon spirits," he whispered, voice trembling. "Take my crown. Take my strength. Take my life. But give hers back." There was no answer. Only the reflection of his own sorrow looked back at him from the water. Kelric laid her gently by the lake's edge. "You said you were not afraid of me," he murmured. "And you were right. I was the one afraid. Afraid to hope again." The curse mark on his chest glowed like burning silver. Pain shot through him. His body shuddered as the beast inside tried to rise. He clenched his fists and screamed into the night. The trees shook, and a gust of moonlight swirled around him. Then silence. Kelric stayed there until dawn, holding her cold hand, promising in his heart that her death would not be the end. The awakening, far beyond the mortal world. Leora opened her eyes. She was standing in a place of endless silver light, a land between life and death. Soft voices whispered all around her, gentle as wind through leaves. "Welcome, seer of truth," said a voice. Before her stood 3 figures of light, the moon spirits. Their faces were hidden, but their presence felt ancient and kind. "Where am I?" she asked softly. "You are between worlds," they replied. "Your soul was strong enough to reach us. The Alpha King's curse has touched you, and now you carry part of it." Leora looked down at her hands. Faint silver lines glowed on her skin, the same marks that once burned on Kelric. "Will I die here?" she whispered. "That depends on your choice," said the first spirit. "You may rest among us, free from pain." The second spirit spoke. "Or you may return to the cursed king, bound to his fate, sharing both his light and his shadow." Her heart trembled. "If I return, can I save him?" The third spirit's voice was soft but sad. "You can try. But remember, every curse asks for a price." Leora closed her eyes. She thought of Kelric's lonely eyes, his quiet strength, the way he had carried her even when the world mocked her. Her choice was clear. "I will go back," she said. "He still needs someone to see the light in him." The spirits touched her forehead. "Then return, Moon's chosen. You will awaken under the same sky, but your heart will no longer belong to this world alone." The return when Kelric opened his eyes, the sun was setting. He had not moved since dawn. He looked down at Leora's still bodies and froze. Her fingers twitched. A soft glow surrounded her. Her chest rose in a slow, shaky breath. "Leora," he whispered, afraid to believe it. Her eyes fluttered open. They shone with a silver light, calm and endless like the moon. "You kept your promise," she said softly. Kelric's breath caught. He took her hand, his voice breaking. "You died. I crossed the veil," she said, "and the moon spirits sent me back. They gave me a part of their power, and part of your curse." He pulled her close, unable to speak. For the first time in centuries, the Alpha King felt hope. But hope was fragile. Outside the palace walls, the kingdom had fallen into fear. The nobles whispered that their king had gone mad, that he had chosen a witch over his people. Armies gathered, ready to take his throne. The burden of the curse. Leora returned to the palace beside Kelric. The once golden halls were now empty and dark. Shadows clung to the corners and the air carried the scent of ashes. At night she could feel the curse moving through her veins, cold as frost. Each time Kelric's anger grew, the marks on her hands flared, sharing his pain. Yet she did not complain. She stayed near him, calming his rage with gentle words. Slowly the king began to change. He spoke more softly, listened to his people, and spent less time alone in the forests. He and Leora worked together to heal the land, using her moonlight, and his power to cleanse the rivers and fields poisoned by old magic. But peace never lasts long in a cursed kingdom. One night Leora woke from a dream of blood and fire. The moon spirit's voices echoed in her mind. "The curse will not break by healing. It will break by sacrifice." She sat up, trembling. "Whose sacrifice?" she whispered. The answer came like a soft wind. "One heart must be freely given under the blood moon." Her heart sank. She knew what that meant. Either Kelric would die to end his curse, or she would have to take his place. She looked at him sleeping beside her chair, his face calm for once. Quietly, she made her decision. He has suffered enough. I will be the one to pay. The rebellion. The following week, the court turned against them. The nobles, angry that the king favored a girl they had once mocked, gathered an army. They marched to the palace gates, shouting, "Down with the cursed king, down with the witch queen." Kelric stood at the balcony, his silver eyes glowing. "So they choose war," he said. "Then let them see what the curse can do." Before he could act, Leora stepped in front of him. "No, you promised to protect, not destroy." "They will kill you," he said. "Then let me face them," she whispered. "This fight is not with swords, it is with fate." That night the blood moon rose, a huge red circle in the sky. The air trembled with power. As the rebels stormed the palace, the curse inside Kelric began to awaken fully. His strength grew monstrous, his voice deepened to a growl. Silver fire burned around him. "Leora, stay back," he warned. "I cannot hold it." She walked toward him calmly. "Yes, you can. Because I believe in you." The curse screamed through his veins, begging him to kill, to burn, to destroy. But when she touched his chest, the world went still. The final sacrifice. The sigil of the curse shone bright against Kelric's heart. Leora placed her palm over it. Light spread from her fingers, soft and warm. The dark power fought back, tearing at her, but she did not move. "You are not the curse," she said through tears. "You are the man who carried it so no one else had to." Kelric's voice broke. "Leora, stop, it will take you instead." "I know," she whispered. "That is the only way." He tried to pull her back, but it was too late. The light from her hand grew brighter, wrapping them both in silver fire. The ground shook, the palace walls cracked, and the blood moon above began to fade. The curse screamed one last time, and shattered. When the light died, Kelric fell to his knees. The mark on his chest was gone. The air was clear. But Leora lay motionless, her face peaceful, her body glowing faintly before turning still. The nobles dropped their weapons, stunned by the sight. The curse that had ruled Vareth for 1,000 years was no more. But their savior was gone. Kelric lifted her in his arms, his tears falling silently onto her hair. "You saved me," he whispered, "and now you leave me in peace I cannot bear." The Queen Eternal days passed. The palace was rebuilt, the kingdom healed. Yet Kelric spoke to no one. He sat on the throne each day but gave no orders. His heart felt hollow, his power empty without her. Then, on the night of the new moon, the air shimmered with silver mist. Kelric looked up and saw a soft glow form before him. From the mist stepped Leora. She was not mortal now. Her eyes shone like moonlight, and her hair moved as if touched by the wind of another world. She wore a gown of silver light and smiled softly. Kelric stood, his voice shaking. "Leora." "I am here," she said. "The moon spirits gave me a new purpose. I am the guardian of balance, the eternal queen. I will guide the light and shadow of this world." He knelt before her, the mighty Alpha King bowing to the girl once mocked by his court. "You were small," he said quietly, "but you carried the weight of gods." She touched his cheek, her touch warm like dawn. "And you, my king, carried a curse until love broke it." They stood together under the silent sky as silver light spread across the land, healing what darkness had destroyed. The kingdom of Vareth would remember this night forever, the night when the short girl became the queen of the moon and saved them all. Final cliffhanger far away, in the shadow of the northern mountains, a dark ripple moved beneath the ice. The whisper of an ancient voice echoed through the wind. One curse broken, another yet to rise. The moon dimmed for a moment, as if listening, and in the throne room of Vareth, Leora's silver eyes turned toward the distant dark, calm but watchful, ready for whatever shadow would come next.